Get ready, guys, because we're about to experience massive deflation. High unemployment, asset prices dropping. And, wait a second, that's not right, is it? Oh, okay, wait. The government's printing money like crazy. We're going to have insane inflation, hyperinflation. You'll be able to pay off your debts by selling a sack of potatoes. And, wait, which is it, inflation or deflation? That's what we're going to cover today. One of the things I find myself talking about a lot when discussing the economy with friends, family, or anybody else is the issue of inflation versus deflation. And what are we as a country going to see, or even as a world, see going down the road for the next few years? Because whichever one it is makes a difference in terms of how you prepare, what you do with your money, and what you do with your preparations. Because inflation has its own set of circumstances and ramifications, and so does deflation. And your preparations would be a little bit different, if not a lot different, depending on what you thought was going to happen. So it's important to consider, and it makes a big difference for what's going to happen over the next few years. So it's something I wanted to talk about. There's two books that you can read on the subject which cover the angle from both sides. The first one is Peter Schiff's Crash Proof 2.0. It's a great book. It covers how you can prepare, and it definitely pushes the inflation side of it as what we're going to see going down the road. And he gives us reasons for that. I'm not going to go into exactly what inflation and deflation are. I'm assuming you already know that if you're watching this video. If you don't, let me know and I can discuss it later. Or there's plenty of other videos on YouTube with people talking about this. But Crash Proof 2.0 by Peter Schiff is a great resource for finding out why there's going to be inflation in the during this economic collapse. Another book that is really good is Return of the Great Depression by Vox Day. And it details why the author thinks there is going to be deflation, a deflationary depression, as a result of the economic hardships that are occurring in this country and in the world right now. And both give a very good account of why they think these things are going to happen. And it's hard to argue with either person. So that leaves a lot of people thinking, well, what's going to happen? I know a lot less about economics than these guys do and finance. So how am I going to figure out if they can't even agree on it? And these are all people who saw the economic collapse coming, and the housing prices declining and all that stuff, and so they're not just jumping on the bandwagon now and making their predictions. They've been saying these things for a long time. So which is it, inflation or deflation? And one of the things that I actually think is that it's going to be both, and that's not really a cop-out because you'll understand when I explain. We have, just like with any depression, we have a massive unemployment, falling asset prices when valued in gold and silver, human labor and things like that, and it collapses in debt and credit around the world. And these things are all leading to massive deflationary market forces. The economies are slowing down, productivity is slowing down, we have unemployment going through the roof, people's net worth and assets are massively declining in value in real terms. And this is all leading into a deflationary pressures on the economy in terms of the market sense. Now, what we also have going on at the same time is massive inflationary pressures on the currencies as a whole. Not just the US dollar, but all the other fiat currencies around the world that are being printed and decreasing in value. So while we have deflationary pressures on the market or the worldwide economy and individual economies, we have inflationary pressures on the currencies because they are not backed by anything specifically, and they can be manipulated by the governments and the central banks of the individual countries. So it's not it's possible for there to be a deflationary depression, just like we had in the first Great Depression in the United States, where there was a stable currency, and the deflationary market forces were causing dropping prices, high unemployment, things like that, and that was a deflationary depression. Now, what we're experiencing is a lot of the same things when it comes to the market. So we have these forces acting on the market as a whole and the economy as a whole, which are deflationary. The value of homes is going down, unemployment's going up, people's assets are decreasing in value in real terms, and so on and so forth. But what we also have at the exact same time is insane inflationary pressure on the currency, which is actually more or at a faster rate than the deflationary pressures on the economy. So we're still seeing things like food and everything else and gold and silver go up in price when priced in dollars. And that's how we're actually having both at the same time. So we're having an economic collapse and a currency collapse at the same time. And that's what's going to be cause an actually inflationary depression, which is what we'll see going out, where you have consistent and persistent high unemployment. We'll have the value of your assets that are non-essential. The things that you have will be going down in value when priced in real terms, and the things that you need will be going up in value and price when priced in real terms. But when priced in dollars, everything will be going up, and that's because the currency itself is experiencing a collapse, which is related to but separate from the overall market forces. It's contributing to it, and it's exacerbated by it. Both are connected, but one could happen without the other. We could have, I mean, it's possible for a country to have a currency collapse by being foolish with their monetary policy without having any other market problems. If they just decided to print money for the hell of it, you would have a currency collapse. And you can have deflationary or depressions in a country that has sound money if other parts of the economy are having problems. But right now we're experiencing both. So in an overall sense, we are in a deflationary depression or deflationary pressures on the market. And we also have a currency collapse. So the overall effect will be much like that of a normal inflation situation where the currency is rapidly losing value. Anything priced in dollars is going to continue to skyrocket in price. And we're seeing this on like a parabolic curve. It's continuing to go up and is going to continue to go up at an even faster rate. And we haven't seen anything yet when it comes to that. If you think the price is going up at the grocery store every week or so, or gas prices, we haven't even seen any sovereign defaults or any country drop the U.S. dollar or anything like that. And so the thing with the currency crisis is, while we may not see actual hyperinflation in terms of them continuing to print dollars, because there is always the option for the government to just default. We know they're not going to pay their debts because they can't. It's mathematically impossible. They could tax the 100% of income of everyone in the country, and we wouldn't be able to balance the federal budget. So we will not pay off the federal debt. That is a guarantee. It's just math. Now, the only two options are we going to, as a country, or we as a country, going to print the money to pay off the debt and thus ruin the currency that way, or are we going to default on the debt and just not pay it at all? In either situation, the currency's value like that will go to zero. Because if we default and we just don't pay the debt, no other countries are going to want to have anything to do with dollars. You know, there's no confidence in the dollar anymore. If we just continue to print trillions of dollars to pay off the debt out of thin air, the debt officially would be zero, I guess, but the dollar's value will be zero as well. So in either situation, you'll see things, you won't be able to really price things in dollars. Whether the price of gold goes to $1 trillion an ounce or $0 an ounce, the effect is the same. Your dollars are worthless. You're not going to be buying anything in dollars because you can't price things in dollars. It's like if you tried to price something in styrofoam peanuts. You can't say what the price is for gold and styrofoam peanuts because people don't want styrofoam peanuts. You know, so that would happen if we defaulted on the debt. It may as well go to zero or $5 trillion an ounce. The effect would be the same. And you won't be able to buy things with your dollars, so the people in America will become extremely poor. You know, if you may be able to, you know, cough up trillions and trillions of dollars like they did in Weimar Republic and finally be able to buy something, but you want to convert that currency to real goods as quickly as possible, as the price of those real goods in dollars is going to continue to go up. At the same time, the deflationary pressures on the market will cause there to be extremely high unemployment. Probably the value of things like your properties and your stocks are all going to be decreasing. So we really get the worst of both worlds. So we're going to have inflationary pressures on the currency, deflationary pressures on the market, and the economy as a whole. And that's what we will see going forward for the next, you know, however long it takes for this to play out. I have a feeling it's probably going to be a long time. But if you guys have any questions about that or comments or what you think is going to happen and why you think there'll necessarily be inflation or deflation, let me know. And rate, comment, and subscribe. And thanks for listening. I'll talk to you guys later.